make them all. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Snoop does everything. Snoop doing kid preschool shows. He's got, I saw him on a video in like Bangladesh or something like that. He was doing like a Bangladesh music video. He's in everything. That dude, and he used to be public enemy #1. That's so crazy how the world changes. That dude was the most dangerous person in music at one point in my lifetime. And now he's like he's doing cooking shows with Martha Stewart. Like he's doing everything. It's crazy.
I love him and Martha Stewart together. They're so funny. But but seriously, he does do everything. And that's the hustle. And you can't knock the hustle. I gotta say, I mean, his NFTs, I'm getting one of his NFTs. Okay, I'm just gonna do it because they're so cool. And that's what you have to be able to, I think, change with the times and roll with all of this stuff that's coming. And Snoop is an amazing example of that. He is amazing, Angeline. Snoop is amazing. Shout out to Snoop. So speaking of all of these people and how all this awesome stuff that they're doing, I know that you started in comedy. Snoop's pretty funny. And I know that you started in comedy too. I wanted to ask you earlier, but we sort of went down a different path. What was that like for you? I know I always hear that being in comedy is one of the hardest things you can do in entertainment. And how was that for you? What made you decide to go down that road?
Comedy was always like something I just loved, like stand-up comedy when I was a kid. I always wanted to be like Richard Pryor. Like, I used to sneak and watch. There was a show that I used to watch all the time. Robert Townsend, great, a historic Black director who doesn't get enough credit in Hollywood. He had this movie I saw when I was a kid. It came out in 1987. It's called Hollywood Shuffle. One of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. As a kid, I was 8 years old watching this movie, busting up, dying. And it was all these dudes who I remember thinking were the funniest people in the world. And then all of a sudden, I started seeing on HBO late at night, there was a show called Robert Townsend Partners in Crime. So I started watching this, and it was the same dude who made that movie and all the people who were in that movie, but these guys were stand-ups and they're doing sketch comedy. So Robert Townsend basically had the Chappelle Show before the Chappelle Show. The Chappelle Show is the Robert Townsend Show on steroids. You know what I'm saying? Key and Peele is Robert Townsend on steroids. And he had sketches, he had like comics doing stand-up. So funny. I was watching this and I wanted to be those guys. If I was going to be on TV, I wanted to do what they were doing too. And so I just grew up trying to be the funny guy. Like I'd be in school and I wasn't just always trying to be the class clown. I was trying to like come up with jokes and things that people would really laugh at, things that would make people laugh. And so I would try stuff out. I would try out material in school and see if it got a laugh. And if it got a laugh, I'd remember that. And then I'd try it somewhere else. And so I was just always practicing and thinking about it. And then once I got old enough, I was like, all right. And I was done with football. I was like, all right, let me just try my hand at this comedy thing. And again, it all came down to not being afraid. So I wasn't afraid to go out and try to be funny. If people didn't like it, they didn't like it. I'll just try something else. Right. But that's what it was for me. It was just not being afraid to try, giving it a chance. It worked for a while. It was pretty funny. I did some shows, got to be around some really cool people and meet some really funny people and be on some shows with some really great comics. And I used it to my advantage. I mean, I used it just to find a way to get into the entertainment industry more. And from there, I got my agents. My first agents were from doing stand-up comedy.
Wow. That's incredible. Sasha has a question for you. We love Sasha's questions. This is about your own experience. What do you think about actors? What is the psychological profile? That's loaded. Okay, Sasha, I don't know if we have time for that today. What is the psychological profile of actors? That's a big question, honey. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't answer for all actors. I can just answer for myself. Like I said earlier, I just always wanted to be the person that people were looking at. Like I wanted to be in control of the room. When I played football, I was a quarterback. I wanted to be the guy in control of the game. Like that's always it. And I'm competitive. So I don't know. I'm super competitive. I want to win. I wanted to win at football. I want to win the role. Me and my friends show up to the same audition. Like I say, good luck, but more luck to me than you. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. Like I'm dead honest. And people will laugh because they say that whenever they see me, they know I'm gonna be honest with them. Hey, good luck, man, but just hope I get it before you. Like that's just what it is. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest. I want to win, and I mean, I guess that's my psychological profile. I want to win. I'm passionate. I can't speak for everybody else, but that's just me.
I feel that. I would think that would be, you could say that is a characteristics of most people who go into acting, is wanting to win the role and wanting to be the center of attention. I think that's a lot of people. I think when I was younger, I probably I did theater and stuff like that in high school. And I loved it. I loved, performing. For me, it's the performance. So I have just as much fun at karaoke than I did on stage. Like for me, I just like acting a fool. Okay. That's why I did wrestling. That's why I did all of those things, because it's about performing for me, and being entertaining. But as I got older, I sort of realized I don't need to be the center of attention. In fact, I would like for other people to shine, which is why I do a podcast. And I'm just curious. I like to ask questions, so and learn about people. So so I vibe with the whole listening thing that you were talking about as well. I just think probably that's part of it, Sasha, like wanting to entertain people and be the center of attention and win.
Yeah.
Because if you win in Hollywood, you could be winning very successfully, like at life, well, not always, because you could be a very successful person and then your whole personal life is falling apart, as we've seen so many times. But I think there's a push there to want to succeed, and I think you have to coach yourself through all of the trials and tribulations that can come when you're working so hard towards a career. Do you have any ways that you keep yourself going and push yourself, sort of coach yourself through to your success that you've had?
I don't think there's any particular thing that I do to keep myself going. It's just like we talked about earlier, just being okay with being rejected. Like, don't let it get you, you can't let it change the way you feel about what you're doing, right? If you really feel like this is what you want to do, or whatever you want to do, and anything you're doing, if you really feel like this is what you want to do and what you're going to do, just keep doing it. Keep doing it, and keep trying to get better at it. And that's the only thing I do, is keep working, keep trying to get better, and keep understanding that there is no, it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, nothing happens overnight. You have to put in the work, and sometimes it takes time. And especially for actors, I tell actors, like, whatever your goal is, be okay with it taking forever. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with what you're going after not happening until you're 60, 70, 80? If you're not okay with that, go do something else. That's it. Like, because what you want and what you're trying to go for in anything you're doing might not happen when you want it to happen. So are you okay with waiting and continuing to wait for it to happen? If you're not okay with it, go do something else.
Oh, that's good advice. This is such good advice. So, okay. Now I have another question for you. All right. So have you always had a really good support system around you, or have you had to sort of quiet the outside noise, as Jay-Z says, in order to, reach your success?
No, I've always had great support. My mom, my dad, my dad came back around when I was in high school, when I went to go live with him when I was in high school. But my mom, from when I was a kid, always supported. I mean, she took me to my first theater, audition to get into a play. She drove me there to do that. And, she took me to football practices all the time and did all that stuff. And then when I got older, when I was not making money, my dad was helping me out. My mom would help me out. They were just, and never was there you should do something else. I never heard that once from like my parents.
Amazing.
Never. Like, you should do something else or try something else. Never, ever, ever. Like, so I'm fortunate with that. Like, I was on a podcast the other day and somebody got mad at me. because I told him
Why?
that, yeah, well, this lady got mad at me because I said that, because the last thing I worked on, I played a man who had to go seek mental therapy because it was a black man. It's a movie about black men and mental health and reaching out for therapy, because in our community we don't, not that everybody doesn't do it, but for the most part it's kind of a taboo subject to go talk about your problems with somebody else instead of just dealing with it on your own, which is a big
Men don't
issue.
do that.
It's a
A lot of men,
stigmatized.
but it's a stigma, especially in the black community, that we just we'll get over it. We'll work on it ourselves, and I was talking about being an actor, and they were asking, how was it for you to play this character? Was it really close to you? I said, no. Like, I'm fortunate enough to have grown up my entire life, and I've never been through any real trauma. Just haven't. Right.
Wow. That's incredible. That's amazing.
And I haven't been through it. And this lady was getting angry. Like, what do you mean you haven't been through trauma? You're a black man in America. I'm like, yeah, I understand. But not every black man has had the same situation as every black man around the world or in other parts of the country. I'm fortunate to have, my parents have never nothing. Like, it's been amazing. My life has been absolutely amazing. Of course, I would have loved to have made the NFL. So is that trauma because I didn't make the NFL? No. You know what I mean? It's like, I found something else to do. But yeah, my support's my family, my sister, my brother, like, they've all been championing me all the way along. My wife always championing me all along. Right. So I've just been fortunate to have people always in my corner, push me and be there and be down and understand, like, this is my dream and I'm living my dream. And I think once you're actually living your dream, most people support that. Right. Because not everybody, especially if they don't get to live theirs, they want to see somebody else actually go for their dream.